Hi, everyone. I'm Angela, and this is Dan Clark.
Hi.
And we usually do everything together as heart to heart. So we're coming as heart to heart. And so what we want to talk to you today about is, this is trying times for all of us. And the temptation is always to just kind of hunker down at home. We're kind of being programmed that way through TV, through just what's happened with the different diseases and whatnot have been going on. And we're just tending to get in a really habitual way of being very much isolated. And it becomes all about self. We don't mean for it to be, because in the heart of all of us is this wanting to give and love. And that's our essential nature, right? But it's getting a little bit bombarded right now, so we're going to have to kind of fight that tendency. We're going to have to try to, make ourselves do some things that maybe we don't really naturally feel like doing, like maybe inviting somebody over for dinner or making a phone call that we wouldn't normally, what we wouldn't normally make. And when we do that, do you agree with me that it just feels so good inside, like you did something good? You're at the grocery store and some lady's just struggling to get her groceries, to her car, and you just like, let me just lift a hand there. And you just grab one of those bags or two, and you do the cart while she carries the bag, whatever. And you just feel, she's like, oh, thank you so much. And doesn't it just feel so good inside? It just feels so good, doesn't it? Well, what's happened, in my way of looking at it, is this whole idea of meditation came along, and it's been great. Okay, so the Christian community, I remember when I was much younger, I was in my 20s, and they believed that meditation was of the devil, and we didn't have anything to do with it. That was of the world, that was of the Eastern way, paganism. But it somehow managed to make its way over here, probably through Paramahansa Yogananda and maybe others too, but we kind of latched on to the beauty of it, realizing that when you still the mind and you just get into the heart space and you just quiet that crazy monkey mind, which we all know is going on in our heads, that, it feels good. It feels really, really good. So then what's become of that is that we've actually kind of become self-absorbed in taking that love. When we get into that space of quietness, we just sit in the stillness, which at first is frightening. Okay, if you haven't done it, just know that when you first sit in the silence, and the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. And so you sit in the stillness, and it can be frightening because, your mind's monkey mind, and, you realize that you're choosing to sit before the presence of God, and that's crazy thoughts are going on. But God is always there with us all the time anyway. So anyway, we just realize that, and we let the mind just do its thing. Here's what I do personally, okay? I know that I've got a lot of thoughts about the day, and so I just let myself just have those thoughts. I talk it out with God. I ask questions about it. I release. Whatever comes to my mind to do, I just process the day. And then once I've done that, my mind settles down. And then I'm able to just sit and try to let my mind just relax. Don't purposely think about anything. And if something does come along, I just acknowledge it, but then I just say, I'm not going to engage you right now. Maybe it's something you need to do this, and just like, if anything, maybe just quick write that down on a piece of paper that you have always with you in case something's really urgent and you're like, I forgot about that. I got to pay that bill. And you write it down, and then but the other thoughts, so you write it down and then just let it go. And you don't get mad about the interruption. You just, let the rest of the final thoughts just have their way. All right. So finally you're done. And for me anyway, this takes a while. And so finally, at about 20 minutes, this is just how I am, okay? Because if I practice this more, it wouldn't be this long, but because I know this from the past, when I did more meditation, it would be quicker. It wouldn't be 20 minutes. It would be more like 5 minutes. But when you're out of practice and you don't do it all the time, then it just takes that long, okay? So after 20 minutes, all of a sudden you realize, okay, I can be quiet now. And so what I do is I just sit and I just give myself, I just let myself sit at the feet of God, the Father. And then I realize that Jesus is right there to my left, and I just acknowledge both of them, and I humble myself, and then I just ask them to help me to be made whole, and that I surrender myself before you, and I ask you, Lord, to just heal my brokenness and heal what doesn't belong and take out what doesn't belong and pluck out what programming that doesn't belong. This is what I do. And then I just sit and I just try not to get attached to any thought that seems to float on by. I don't have to, get all involved in it. Just let it go on its way. And then pretty soon, no thoughts are coming. They just are done. And then all of a sudden, and I just wait a little longer, maybe say another 3 minutes, and I ask the Holy Spirit to help me drop down into the deep part of the heart of God, and just, help me drop down. That's what I say, drop down. So when I mean drop down, what I mean is something uncontrollable by me. It's got to be the Holy Spirit. Just takes me, I'm not doing it, just takes me to another place. It's a deep, deep place of peace. And I can't make it happen. But just by being in that quiet, it's like, I don't know, you get blessed. And most of the time, you'll go to that place. And then you find your whole body just getting saturated with love a lot of the time. It'll be different over time. Sometimes it's emotional because he's trying to work on some hurt that you don't know anything about, something from the past. Who knows? God only knows. But you realize that you're maybe crying even. Who knows what's going to happen here? But for me, a lot of the time, it's just that you realize this overall, you're just being oversaturated with this presence and this love. And you don't know what it's doing to you. And you don't care. You just know that something is. And so that's this deep place. So let me just tell you what's going on here. We've all been doing this. People begin to realize how valuable this meditation is. But what's happened is we're not completing the circle. So there's this saying. It's arigato, and it means that you receive, and then you give, and then you receive, and you don't feel bad because you know that it's always coming back. You're giving and receiving, and it's making the circle. Well, it's the same with this whole meditation thing. When you receive through this avenue of meditation, and you might even get it from reading your Bible, reading some book, and then you just find yourself just wanting to just close that book for a minute and just sit and think about it. And sometimes you'll find yourself falling into that place of same kind of thing that I'm talking about. Whatever it is for you that works for you, when you find yourself in that place, give into it. Let God do that work. But when you do, and you come out of it, what you want to do is the arigato thing. It's like you've received, and now you want to give. And so what I found out through this different ways lately, that God is trying to get us to realize that, yes, I'm happy with that time with you. I love that time with you. I'm not mad at you in any way that you're just receiving. It's for self alone. But I'm asking for you to be fully blessed in the way that you want to do, to make the circle and now give it away. And then it made me think about something. I've written a book and I haven't put it out yet. I did for a minute and then I took it back because I realized I needed a little bit more stuff that I didn't want to tell before. But anyway, I did that. But what I realized that in the book, I talked about this time of bliss that I had, and I'm going to call it bliss because that scares Christians, but it's basically that place. Only instead of leaving after I'm done meditating, it was with me for 2 solid weeks. And it was like nothing could be wrong. Everything was absolutely in order, even if it was seemingly wrong in the world's way of looking at it. It wasn't seemingly wrong to me. It was like everything was perfectly as it should be. And even if it meant that I was being beat up or something, it just didn't even faze me. It was like water's off a duck's back. I knew my place. I knew that I was loved. I knew that I was safe. I knew that I was adored. I knew that God was in control. It was a great place to be. But when I got into that place, there was also, I don't know, I couldn't hold it all. It was so much love that I had to give it away. So maybe we're not meditating enough to then feel filled. But when you do meditate enough, guys, and you feel that sense of giving, give, because that's going to complete the circle. Because here's what I found during that time. I would ask God for, during that meditation time, in the early part of it, I would ask for more love and more joy and more whatever I was feeling that I needed. I would ask for it. A lot of times it was the fruits of the Spirit I could see lacking in my life, and I would ask for more, whatever I was lacking. And in that time, I was a brand new mother. I shouldn't say brand new, but I had babies, and plus I babysat, and it was a lot of work. And I was so overwhelmed by all of that. And so I'd ask for more patience. That was a big one. More love, and so that I could do a really good job, in patience with my kids when they'd say for the 100 millionth time, "Mom, why is this? Mom, why is that?" It's like constant questions, and sometimes I just wanted to say, "Shut up," But I knew that was the wrong thing to do because they're learning, they're absorbing. I don't want to shut down that inquisitive mind. So I'd ask God for more peace, more patience, more love for them. And so he would give it. And then I would notice I had a little bit more love than I did the day before. I could see that. And I noticed I had a little bit more patience. So I would use it. So when we feel a sense of this love, what we must do is, what I'm learning is that we must give it away so that it can come back. And when it comes back, it doesn't just come back the way that you sent it out. No, it's doubled, at least doubled. It's like asking for more love, and you get a little bit more love, and then you utilize that, you give it away, you're more patient with your kids, then you go around and then you ask for it again, and you get a little bit more. And every time, because you utilized it, you're given more. Remember, the Bible says that when you are given, how's it go, Dan? That if you don't use it, that even what you have will be taken away from you. So we want to give it away.
It says those who have more will be given, but those who don't have, even what they have will be taken.
Right. So that's a law. Okay. So I'm trying to tell you, this is a methodology. It's a law, whatever, and we've got to fulfill it. So Jesus said you're to love the Lord your God with all your heart. Okay, so now is he doing that for his glory because he's so narcissistic? I want to be worshipped and praised. No way. God is humble, like he's asking us to be humble. But what he knows is this technology. The technology is, if you love, now when you love God, what does that mean? Oh, I worship you, I worship you. No. Oh, Lord, thank you for this beauty, the beauty. I'm enjoying this very moment. Oh, thank you that you just took care of that problem for me. Oh, whatever. I'm so grateful. This is loving God. How about loving your neighbor? How about being kind to them? Oh, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. Can I do anything to help? And you take over a bowl of soup or something, right? That's loving our God, and that's our neighbor. But our neighbor is like God because we're servants to all, like Jesus showed us when he washed his disciples' feet. We're servants unto all, and as you've done it unto the least of these, you've done it unto me. So you're doing it to God when you're doing it to other people. And so we are completing this circle, and then God can give you more. But guess what? He doesn't just give you more of that. He gives you more of all kinds of giftings that you know not of, that are beyond this world. They're otherworldly, if you will. They're maybe sometimes even supernatural. It's knowledge, it's understanding, it's a deeper sense of peace than you could have ever imagined. It's all these things. And we're denying ourselves, and we're denying God because he is a God of love, and we are the vessels carrying that love. And that if we're not giving it away, then we're hoarding it, which is selfish. So this is what's happened. We become self-centered and selfish with, I'm hoarding this love for me, and the TV and the internet and Facebook and all these things that are distracting us are keeping us from really giving that away in the right kind of way.
You remember when we went through the texting?
Yeah.
We picked up our kids. We came down to Idaho to pick up our kids, and the next thing you know, they were quiet as mice. And we're like, where are they? Are they sleeping? And they were back there on their phones. In a totally different world. The communication was gone for like 5 hours, 8 hours of driving. It was like, are you guys there? Don't bother us. So meditation by itself can kind of look like texting, where you're just consumed with self, resting, enjoying the bliss, enjoying the peace. And like Angela said, it's all good. But we've also had the experience, of seeing it overdone in the monastery. You could tell them about the monastery.
Let's talk about that, yeah.
Tell them about that, because we used to think, I'll let Angela tell you, but we used to think those guys at the monastery were enlightened, We wanted to go out there and see these guys because those were the guys that sat in the cloud of unknowing. Those were the guys that sat in that silence and connected with God and that Shekinah glory. And, as you read spiritual literature, you think, boy, those are the enlightened people. So me and Angela had to go out there. We wanted to see what's going on out there and meet some of these people and tell them what we saw.
And okay, so first of all, what drew us there was this one guy. Well, maybe I better not say the name just so that I won't give away the other things I'm going to say. But wonderful monastery that we just absolutely love to go to.
Called a silent monastery.
Yeah, it's a silent monastery. It was more of an Episcopalian type because it wasn't a worship Mary kind of. For some reason, they were into Jesus there. They loved Mary too, but it was not a Catholic type. Anyway, it was pretty cool. But what we noticed was these guys had maybe had some addiction of some kind, some fear of themselves because of something they struggle with. So they thought, yes, I'll just go into presence with God and I'm just going to live in silent, it was, when you say silent monastery, it doesn't mean that everyone doesn't talk to each other. But there's a lot of silence, a lot, but they do. There's words. There are words there, okay. But anyway, we thought, yeah, we want to go check this out. So what we noticed is these guys have run there for safety, run there for security, run there because they want to be good and they want to be holy. It's so precious realizing that. But it ended up that it didn't really help matters at all for them. And what ended up happening was we witnessed this time after time. We would go and see that they had become kind of smushy in their brain. And they weren't as active in service as they're out there in the garden, okay, alone with their thoughts, right? Cooking, whatever it is that they do that's more solemn, more quiet. But there were few that would go about really digging in and writing what they were learning, and then they would actually go out and speak. They would do seminars, they would do conferences, but for the most part, most of them just wanted to be in the silence and be in meditation and do the rituals of the things that they do every day, and always to say every day. And so they were sluggish, because Jesus said, I've not come to take you out of the world, but that, well, how does that scripture say? But the world that through them might be saved. But it talks about that. But it also says that he did not come to take us out of the world.
You'll overcome the world.
But through him we'll overcome the world. And you will have tribulation in this world, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. And it doesn't. He didn't say I'm taking them out of the world. He said I did not come to take them out of the world. God, that's not what Jesus came to do. But that the world through them might be saved. And so how are we going to do that if we're in a monastery, or we're always hiding out in our homes and we're afraid to do anything? Well, we have to break that cycle, because the way that you get growth in you is to serve. So if you're just always in the garden, and then you're providing that for the monastery, and then you're making that food in silence, and then you're eating in silence, and you're doing as much as you can in silence, and all that, you're not stretching yourself. You're not, like, Dan and I will have a great morning ritual of meditation and praying and reading and whatnot. And then the world goes crazy. And then you thought you were going to be able to keep that place of peace all day long. And all of a sudden, literally within 20 minutes, it's ripped from you and you're out of peace about something. Let's just say that happens. It happens all the time. And then it's the technology of how to quickly and more quickly get back to that center. And so it's a practice. And sometimes you blow it. Sometimes you stay out of peace for hours and more things happen and you stay. And other times you catch it. So that's when I want to just get into one other little thing that we've learned about recently. And it has to do with the monkey mind, or what someone's now calling, and I don't know who it is that's calling it this, but it came from God, the idea, I do know that. But it's Little Mind Anonymous. So you know how we have addictions, and there's the 12-step for gambling and alcohol and drugs and Overeaters Anonymous. There's everything. But now there's something that's new called Little Mind Anonymous. So what is it? Okay, so everybody kind of knows what monkey mind means. Monkey mind is what happened to me when I had that peaceful moment in the morning in prayer and meditation. I felt a complete peace with God. And I was so excited. I'm going to hang on to this love I feel, and I'm going to give it all away. And then boom, it's taken from me. So the monkey mind comes in and says, oh, you blew it. See how you got mad at that guy just then? You lost your peace. Oh, you piece of crap. You're such a loser. And you're never going to get this. And you're not enough. And you're never going to be enough. And you're never going to get where you need to go in your spiritual walk. And you're never going to stay solidly in peace all day long. You're just not good enough. And then you just say, ugh. And you just kind of, yeah, you're right. That's the monkey mind. That's the little mind. Because the little mind is just always got its ideas how we're not good enough all the time, and sabotaging what is really true about us and what we really, really are. So what the Little Mind Anonymous is helping us to realize that we're addicted to that mind because we've always seen it. It's always been patterned for us in our homes and of our youth. Our parents emulated it. Even the people at church, everywhere you go, their mind, they do something wrong, and then their mind starts beating them up. And our parents, we saw them do it. We witnessed it. And we are just in a habit. We're addicted to it. We wouldn't know how to live without that little bit of drama, that a little bit of beating, a little bit of beating ourselves for being so stupid or so whatever it is that you don't like about yourself. So we have to learn how to say, wait a minute, I'm not that mind. Those thoughts are not my thoughts. And so they say thoughts are things, and they say that because it literally creates what you don't want or what you do want. But most of us are creating what we don't want all the time. You get more of the same. Like attracts like, right?
Like Wayne Dyer says, where do thoughts come from and what are they made of? And how many of them come per second? And if you were in the, like Angela said, the monkey mind, you'd be given attention to each one of them. I should have, would have, could have. I should have did this yesterday. I got to do this tomorrow. I got to do 10 things this afternoon. How do I do it all? And you become a slave of the mind. And so that's why meditation came in, was to still the mind and get still and get back to, like Angela said, that middle place. And then you can operate in homeostasis,
Yeah, so Dan, will you talk about the whole thing about dropping those thoughts down into the heart and the importance of that, or something along the line of all of that?
Yeah, it's kind of like when you slow the mind, somehow you're not thinking. You move into more of a feeling. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so that's the only way I can describe it. When I finally stop thinking, when I just sit there long enough, you drop down into some space. It's peace beyond all thought. And
how do you get there? I'll tell you one thing I do is that Greg Braden taught it to us, is that when you think of something that you feel, just try to think of a couple different things that you feel very compassionate about. Like, oh, I feel so bad for that. For me, it was that goose, that swan down there on the river, who doesn't have it made anymore because it got killed by some gut buddy who threw a big barrel at it and killed it killed its mate. So now it's all sad. You could see it all sad and alone. So I think about that. Whereas something, maybe my neighbor who's going through a really hard time just lost their son. I'll think about something like that, and then my heart opens, and then I can get into that heart space a little quicker, to drop down into that space, instead of that it's this judgment. So it's a way of getting your heart open in a big fat hurry, because that's the goal, is to get in your open heart space. And then it's easier to drop those hearts down into the heart space and say, is that really true? It's like, oh, there you go, monkey mind again. There you go, little mind, trying to tell me what isn't true about me. It's not true about me.
Yeah, and once you realize what thoughts are made of, which are nothing, that they're coming out of thin air, right? Where does the thought, I have to mow the lawn? Well, how about I have to wash the house? Oh, how about I have to wash the car? Oh, how about I have to clean? Oh, how about it's a slave task. It's a slave owner. It runs us.
Yeah.
And so what's beautiful about meditation is when you drop down and you really don't even try. You just stop giving attention that thoughts are that important. You know what I mean? Like you think, I got to do the lawn, right? Well, through training, you say, well, I do or I don't. Maybe something else is more important. Maybe I should go visit my daughter and a new baby. Yeah, I think I'll do that. It sounds like she's having kind of a low. Let's go do that. And you do that. But that comes from peace of mind, not monkey mind. Monkey mind tells you got to do it all. You better vacuum the rug, you better do this, you better clean dishes, you better do this, you better do that, you better clean the window. It's never ending.
Yeah, and you're a failure if you don't.
And you're a failure if you don't. And you know what I mean. But it's really a slave. We're slave. We shouldn't be slaves to our mind. Our mind should be a slave to us, and
to our heart.
Yeah,
it should be a servant to our heart. So our heart space should lead. So when Dan gets up in the morning and he'll say, Lord, I just want to do the best and highest good for everybody involved, and show me how I can serve in the best and highest way. Is that the question?
Yeah. And you sit there and things will come across your mind. I should go visit my daughter, okay? I should go shopping today. The groceries are low. I should go clean my shop today. I should visit this old guy who's a friend of mine today. I should do this. So here's the whole list. So you just sit with it. You just sit with that list, and maybe something will come to the forefront again. Maybe something comes out of the heart. The daughter's got a real heavy weight. This is a new baby. Maybe we ought to just offer her, our help. You know what I mean? If she don't want our help,
babysitter or whatever.
Yeah, let's offer our time. Let's bring a meal. Let's do that. Oh, she's okay. She's good today. She's out in the park. And so you think, well, I should probably go clean that garage out. That's probably what I need to do. I probably need to go out there and sweep. So you go out there and sweep, and the next thing you know, it's like a 911 call. Someone's in trauma. Someone needs help. And so you go down and you sit down, you talk to them for an hour or so, and you help them out however you do. But you're not stressed about it. The problem with
In other
the
words,
monkey.
you're not stressed about the fact that you're not getting those things done that were given to you when you got up in the morning. Right?
Yeah, and it's not like you're doing anything to appease God. You're not doing anything to make God happy so God gives you an applaud or you're going to get a space in heaven. It's not that way anymore. You're just contemplating what is the highest and best today. What should I be concerned with today the most? Maybe it's make a video, right? Maybe it's make a video and put it out for people. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like it how when things change, okay, so I'll ask God what I feel like He wants me to do and try to get into my heart space about what the best thing and best, highest good for everyone involved. And then things come and interrupt my day. So I have this expectation. This is my thing I'm overcoming right now. Expectation that I'm going to get all those things done. But I remember somebody saying one time, and then Dan is totally showing me how this works, that when you get interrupted, you don't fight that. You don't get all stressed out about it thinking, I'm going to displease God because He told me He wanted me to do this, 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 and this. And now I'm interrupted. I'm derailed. Oh my gosh, I'm going to disappoint God. I won't get that video done today, or I won't have taken care of such and such, or whatever. I won't have gotten that done. No, you allow the interruptions without expectation. So I'm not expecting to get all those things done today. I'm going to hope that I'm going to do my level best. But if God throws something in my pathway that I didn't expect, I'm not resentful about that, and I don't get freaked out. I'm not there. Okay, guys, I'm not. I'm learning how to allow for interruption and not have guilt about it.
Yeah, and it reminds me of spinning the plates. You've heard those plates, they put them on those sticks in the ground. They put all those sticks in the ground, and then one guy starts spinning one plate, and then he goes to the next plate and starts spinning, and he goes all the way down the end. Then by the time he gets back down here, this one's wobbling. Okay, that one's your family. The next one's your finance. The next one's your religion. The next one's your relationships. So it's like you got to spin this one. Hey, I said hi to Uncle Bob today. Hey, I went over and I made some money today. Because if you spend too much time with Uncle Bob, you're not making no money, right? So you go make the money. They say, yeah, we've made enough money. We need to, spend some time with the relatives. But it's spinning. You're always spinning, but you're not anxious. You're not anxious. If one wobbles and falls off, it's okay. You know what? You're going to pick it back up. Put it spinning again. It's not the end of the world. God doesn't hate us. God's not waiting to judge us, to say you failed, you didn't do all that you'd have to do. Because it's like a guy told me one time, if you did everything you had to do, if you washed the truck, cleaned the carpet, went outside, painted the house, touched up, did all this stuff, you wouldn't have any time for God. You wouldn't even have any time for other people. And so we've got to break all kinds of rules all the time.
Yeah, we do.
This morning we got a call from my daughter. The dog, stepped near the baby or something, and they were all scared. And, it was 911, like, oh, my God, we're scared. The dog's too big. It's too aggressive. And it took a while. It took an hour and a half to put out that fire. Now, me and Angela were going to go take a ride and go visit this older gentleman, right? But we had to break the rules. I shouldn't even say there is no rules.
No.
But in your mind, it likes to make rules.
Yeah.
We were supposed to go out and go fishing. We were supposed to go out and rest today, and all we did was worked. And we did this and we did that, and we didn't get done what God wanted us to do. God, I'm sorry.
I know, it's funny because it says that every day was ordained and written in God's book before one of them came to be. Forgot exactly the scripture where it's written. It might be Proverbs. But anyway, every day was ordained and written in God's book before one of them came to be. So does that sound to you like God's in control? So He really did know all of those things were going to go on. But, at least then we know that on the plate tomorrow is going to be try to get that done. Probably most likely, if it's possible, right? It'll be on the plate tomorrow. But I'm such a rule-oriented person because of the way that I was raised in Jehovah's Witness Jewish combined church called Worldwide Church of God, and everything's very law and duty-oriented, and you're loved if and when you do exactly as you're told to do. And if you don't do exactly everything perfectly, you're not loved. And you never can do enough, so pretty much you're never really quite loved right. And
it's expectations.
Yes, and then Jehovah's Witnesses, what I witnessed in Dan's church, you got this meeting and then that's not that way anymore, but used to be this way, this meeting on this night, and then this night, and then this day you get together for field service, and then this day you go out to field service, and church on Sunday, and it's just never ending you have to do it, and then you got to do everything just right and have this talk ready, number 4 talk, and you got to study all your things so you know what answers you're going to give, and the study thing, and all this kind of stuff goes on, and it's just so duty bound, and if you don't do it perfectly, you're going to know about it, like your talk wasn't, you didn't give enough expression, or whatever it was that you're in trouble for. Never good enough. And you could have been out in field service, you know, at least in your mind you're thinking this because Jehovah's watching, they told me, and just all this stuff, the guilt and shame and coulda, shoulda, woulda, never ending. And so it's really hard to not be okay with yourself when you don't, in your own mind, what you think is the plan of the day, and it's messed up by an interruption, because the church still expects me to do this and this and that. They don't care that this happened at work, and and I still got to be there, and you just have this agony and this anguish and this stress and drama all the time. And to learn how to not live in that drama, and it's okay that everything didn't go God's way, because I asked him what he wanted me to do. It didn't go the way that I was imagining. I was expecting it to go exactly the way God told me in my morning time of what do you want me to do today. And when it didn't, I'm disappointed. My expectations were not met. I feel like I failed God. Why? Because that's how I was trained. And I have to fight that.
Yeah, there's a saying, it says, plan your day and then God laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And God says, okay, little did you know your daughter's going to have an emergency and this is going to happen, and a friend's going to call and need to talk to you. And, Lord knows what else happens. The cat gets hurt, something happens. There's a cat fight outside. There's a fight in the street. Yeah, whatever, right? It just never ends.
Somebody's
my car's making some kind of noise now, and I got to take it down to Toyota, and they find something wrong, and oh my God, it's a lot of money, and oh my God, the IRS just wrote and sent me a letter. What does it say? I don't even want to read it. Angela, read it. And it just goes on and on. This is life.
Yeah.
But what if we were to view it from God is with us all the time, through everything, in every decision, every thought, everything we're doing. Like we can't escape God. Like we say, God, we're going to do this. God says, how about we just do whatever comes up and I'll be there with you, instead of thinking you're going to do this for me and that for me because I don't need you to do anything for me. How about I'm with you while you're doing all the things that you think you need to do and all the things that you thought you should have did. That's okay, because I was there too. Because we can't separate from God. We can't be apart. He says, I'm closer than your breath. What does that mean? It means the Spirit of the living God is within us. I'm closer than your breath. Your breath is all the way through your body. And so I'm closer than your breath.
My very heartbeat.
Yeah.
He knows every hair on our heads, every thought we think, are coming and are going.
Yeah, so we're not doing anything
all our habits.
God's cooperating with us. Cooperating. Two people are operating together. And so we can't escape God. So everything we do is for God. Everything we do is with God. And everything God does is with us. I mean, we're partners.
Yes.
So we've made God partners in our life. So everything we do now, but like Angela said in the beginning, the thought of this was that meditation on its own, and what we saw from the monastery is that meditation alone isn't enough. That's only part of the plate. That's one of the plates. I need this time for myself. Now I got to get on with the day. Yeah, and so we've seen the monastery where, like they said, they become vegetables because a lot of them have just sat around and they meditate and they contemplate, and that's all they do all day.
And they receive God's love,
yeah.
but it's not going anywhere. It's just for self and self alone. It becomes selfish.
Yeah.
They don't mean for it to go that way, but it's just what does happen.
And there's also kind of an arrogance that goes with the monastery. Well, we're not part of the world like you guys. We're actually worried about you out there, and and they have this air that they have the robes and the white robes and little ties around them, and there's sort of a little pride that goes along with it.
In their mind, you should not be in the world, but the world says that they're going to be in the world but not of it. We're to be in the world but not of it, meaning that we're not engaged in all of their craziness, crazy thinking, lust, and greed, and we don't act like that. We don't want to act like that.
And they struggle with all that stuff. They'll tell you they struggle with lust. They struggle with everything.
Absolutely.
And so, so the point of it is, you can meditate all day, but yet you're not out there reciprocating.
Serving.
You're not putting it out, receiving. Like the hose, they say if you cramp up the water hose, There's nothing to go out, nothing to return. And so we've got to allow the hose to flow.
But let me just say this. And again, since in the very beginning, what did I say? That when we do something kind for somebody else, it just fills your heart with so much joy because you know you did something good. So this is not like you should, you must. That's not going to get her done, man. Then you're going to go out and forcing yourself to do something that's not natural. Now, and not that that's all bad, because they say fake it till you make it right. So maybe you'll say, well, you know what? I don't want to be all about me. How about if these cookies I'm making, I'm going to take some over to my neighbor her husband just died. Maybe that'll cheer her up, and maybe I'll give her a phone call, right? And just a little something where you're beginning to go out of your selfish, everything's for me kind of way of thinking, and then that will be blessed because at least you're trying. So, and in that way, it's not completely maybe in your heart to do that, but you know that would be a kind thing to do. And then when you do it, then they're like, oh, I needed this today. Oh my God, you had no idea. I was just thinking, and this just lifted me. And you're like, you just feel so good inside. So there's great reward. It's not just that you shoulda, coulda, you must, you're not you're not doing it right. You're just selfish. We don't mean to go there with you at all, because that's not what this is all about. This is all about that God wants for us to have it all. And, delight yourself in serving him and his people, and he will give you all the desires of your heart. God wants to do that. He wants to give you all the desires of your heart and of my heart. If you just serve my people, which is serving me and which is loving me, and then I will give you all the desires of your heart. He wants to do it, but he knows that this is a technology. This is not, God, I'm going to withhold. It's not. It's a technology. And it's a laws that are natural laws. And God's just trying to help us get in cooperation with those natural laws and the natural flow so that we can be blessed. He's ready to dump them, but we have to get in the law to make the law work. So
it's like getting in the canoe. Just jump in the canoe and go down the river. Don't overthink it. Should I get in the canoe? Should I do this? You can outthink the canoe. Just get in the canoe, go down the river, and enjoy the adventure.
And that's why God knows that if he says, love me with all your heart, again, it's not for him. It's because he knows the technology. That what happens is when you're loving God with all your heart, you're just finding everything in the world to be thankful for. And then that draws more things to be thankful for. Do you ever notice when you write things down? I don't know if you've ever done this, but a little list of everything you can think of that you're thankful for. And then all of a sudden, somebody just gave you $100 tip. Ooh, I'm going to add it. Cool. And then the next thing you know, the guy gave us a 50% discount on blah, blah, blah. Oh, got to write that down. And you're just looking for it now. And then that attracts like attracts like. And the next thing you know, then more good fortune and more good fortune because you're looking for it. See, God knows that it's like this, but it's the laws that he made. And if we live within the confines of those laws, we will be blessed. He will give us all the desires of our heart. He wants to anyway, always. But if we don't do the laws and natural laws that have been put there, God created and it's made this way, then we're out of sync. And we want to be in sync. So it's not this have to, must, like we learn in church, okay, Jehovah, whatever. No, it's actually just get in the flow and give and receive and give and receive. And then more will be added unto you. And all the desires of your heart will be given unto you. See, it's not God withholding, it's us withholding from God and from others by not choosing to serve, because we know to love our God, and then which is just simply giving and thanking and being grateful, and then serving, and then more, and then suddenly you're blessed, and then it's coming back around, and it's just a continuous flow. So that's what we've got to get, and we got to work with the technology. This is a technology, and getting into meditation causes that love to start flowing. But then we got to be prepared to give it away. And then life will begin to flow again. If you're tight-fisted with your money, start giving a little bit away. And you'll see more coming back. If we're tight-fisted, I don't want to give that away. I'm so mad that I have to pay that. And then all of a sudden you stop the flow. But you say, you know what? Arigato. I remember this guy from Canada. He said, every time I go to the grocery store, I get to the register, give me the bill, and tell me how much I need to give money for. And then he'd be like, oh, wow, what a good deal. This is what he would say every time. He said, I would say, oh, what a good deal. And the lady would look at me like, what? It's like usually everybody's complaining, but instead it's like, yes, I'm just get reciprocity. I'm giving, and it's going and it's coming back, and the more I give, the more it comes back, and he's just generous, generous with his tipping. Arigato, what comes in, it's going to go back out, and it's going to come right back to me and double, and that's how he looked at everything, and that's exactly what went on. My girlfriend said, "Oh, God is so good to me. God is so good to me," and you know what? He was, and it just kept on going, and then she'd get a new car, and then this good thing would happen, and it just goodness and goodness and goodness came to my girlfriend all the time, because her attitude was gratefulness, and just this attitude of gratefulness, and she gave thanks, and that thanks got her more of the same. So anyway, I was talking too long, but that's the technology we wanted to bring to you today, and I'm working it. Dan has really been working it and gone really far. He's my great example. He's ahead of me by about 4 years from his recovery from cults. I'm 4 years behind, and I'm definitely 4 years behind, but I can see where I'm growing and trying to put this technology in place. My biggest thing...
You first got to see it. You got to see that it is a technology. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, you say, oh my God, I want that technology. I want to get into that. I want peace. I want harmony. I want all that God has to offer. And it is a technology, and we've heard before that this is a technology. These are laws that if we follow them, things happen. Good things happen in our life. Like I said, when you love God with all your heart, you see all the good in nature, see all the good in life, see all the good in people, see all the good in everything. And as you see good, more good comes to you, and you have more good to give. Yes. And the more you have, the more you get. Like she said, those who have, more will be given. More of what? More of God is good. Right? The more good we see, the more good we have, the more good we have to give. But the less we have, even what we have, if we turn victims, if we, don't want to give, we're angry or whatever, then we don't have anything to give. So even what we have, we start to lose, because those are laws too. So the law works whether you believe it in a good way or a negative way. It's always working, right?
Yeah. So you guys, we're coming up on maybe possibly some really, really rough roads ahead. But don't forget this technology, because even if you're stuck in your home and you can't leave, there are a million things you can do. And God will give you the good ideas, but for one, for sure, is that you can just pray goodness on every neighbor that you have in your neighborhood. Pray for their good health. Pray for their healing. Pray for their strengthening in the interior self. And pray for just, for joy in your own heart. Pray for joy for your neighbor. If you can, figure out a way that you can sneak over and drop some food on their porch, or I don't know, whatever you can do. Figure out ways in whatever you can, at least to pray. Or if whatever you're able to do it. Maybe send out a little something on the internet of positivity of some kind. I don't know. Write a song that when you get the chance you can share with other people, at least something you can give later on, poems that you can give and leave for other mankind once things settle down in this crazy world. I don't know, but whatever it is, just keep serving, keep giving, finding ways to give, and in every way that you can. Even if you're not allowed to talk to anyone for some reason, there's ways you can give, like I said, write a poem, write a book, just send out something if you're able to somehow, maybe a little letter to somebody if we can send mail still, or if we can send an internet something. Just do what you know what to do, and the ideas will come. But just trust that you are loved. And when you meditate, the more you meditate, the more you know that you're loved. And the more you're secure in that love is the more then you're able to give, because you've got more to give because you know how much you're loved. So it all kind of goes together in a circle. But giving, no matter what the circumstances, no matter what we're going through, find ways to give. If something has completely demolished your home and you find yourself down at some shelter somewhere, what can I do to give in this shelter? How can I hold this person who's shaking like a leaf, scared to death? I'll hold them. Can I feed them? Can I go get them something to drink? What can I do? How can I serve? This is how we've just got to look at it. We don't care about anything. Serve in the moment. You only have this moment. You don't have any other moment. You have this moment. Do your best with this moment and keep on putting one foot in front of the other. Don't think about what you can't change. Don't fear the future. Just be in the moment. So when these crazy times come, be in the moment. and try to get into that heart space, try to get into that meditation, and try to still the mind the best you can. Don't beat yourself up. God is not in the beating up business. He's not in the guilt and shame. That's the little mind trying to beat you up. But we don't pay attention to the little mind. We try to get outside of our little mind and look down on ourselves and say, oh, look at that little thing, that thought going on in there in my head. You know what? That's stupid. That's not even true. You know what? That's just plain dumb. And that's not even important. And you're like, and the more you can do that, just kind of acknowledge that, oh, this is monkey mind thinking. This is not even, actually, it's not even true. I don't really have to do this right now. God really loves me, and He's supporting me. I'm not alone right now. And He's not expecting me to be a slave, like, driving me. I'm driving me. My little mind's driving me. Oh, my goodness. You know what? Thought, shh, I'm not listening to you right now. You're not mad. Get the, out. No, just shh, chill. You're not in charge now. I'm in charge, little mind. My heart's in charge. God's in charge. This is not the truth. It's not the truth at all. I don't have to do this right now. This is the kind of thing. We still it. We put it under our feet. Make our enemies our footstool. It's putting that monkey mind, little mind, the addiction to it, under our feet and say, no, I'm in charge. My heart is in charge. God is in charge now. And that's all there is to it. And the more we catch ourselves, the more we catch it, the more we'll say, no, get down. No, chill. That's not what we're going to do right now. Anyway, so that's it. I think that's all I want to say. Dan, anything more?
That's it. That sounds good. Sounds like you covered everything good.
All right, good. All right, guys, I love you.
All right,
have a wonderful day. Blessings.
All right,
you
blessings
can do this.
to you.
We can do this.
Yes.
Keep loving. Keep loving. Keep
Yes.
loving.
Yes.
Be the love. You are the love of God. Let Him manifest that love through you. You're the vessel. We're the vessels. Okay. All right. You can do it. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.